Okay, and so Russianvids, I did a little more investigation into the San Francisco Asiana flight 214. Now, I don't know if you mentioned it in your video or not, and so this is another reason why people should not just take anyone's word for something, whether they're manipulating you knowingly or unknowingly, or they're just not in the know on a certain situation. They might have the wrong information, okay? But these Asian pilots, Captain Something Wong and Wee Tu Lo and Ho Li Fuk and Bang Ding Ao, okay? I don't know if you mentioned it in your video or not, but I don't think you do. And you lead people to believe that they actually reported this as fact when this was revealed to be a hoax, this was revealed to be a gag, and I think people were fired for it, and there was a big upset about it as it being a racist joke, okay, with this name. There weren't these names they listed that you show in your video. So I'm not trying to be one way or another, but I'm trying to open someone's eyes and say, hey, look, Russianvids saying using this video footage and telling you something that's about 4 years old. You got to investigate it, because he doesn't tell you that it was a hoax, that they were sued for a racial joke. But here's the thing: was it really a racial joke, or did they take the lawsuit and take a blow for the team, so to speak, by saying, "Oh yeah, it was a joke," you know? When the higher ups were the ones that told them to do it, and they take the low blow, something like that. You know, so, you know, with the made up names as a gag, they can fall out of it because people said, hey, that's people started, maybe they thought no one was going to pay attention and really buy it that way. And when people started saying, no way, this has got to be a racist joke, then all of a sudden they probably changed their tune at the studio, whoever ran this, and the lower people took the blow, okay, for the big guys on top is what happened. And that might be the case. I'm not saying that's what happened, but if that's not what happened, and that's not the case, then Russianvids is just giving you information and you're not checking into it. Then you could be as stupid as me and try to comment and share on a video in these people's names and how strange this sounds when they say that this was a hoax in the first place, these names. So I don't know what to think about this, but it makes you want to double check. This is one reason why, like, people I like to, you know, trust and stuff like that, you always have to double check their work, okay? Don't just take their word for it. Like I said the other day in some of my videos about Jesus and his name and origins and stuff. Don't take my word for it. Don't take your pastor's word for it. You investigate it and do the work to find out for yourself if you approve of something. Don't let other people decide what they approve for you. That's between you and God, you know? So I just wanted to put that out there, in case someone comes back at me and says, didn't you know that they were sued? This was just a hoax? That this was just a racist joke gone bad or something, you know, and they got sued for, you know, somebody made a mistake and thought this would be funny. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know that. But if that was the case, but here's what I'm trying to say once again. The case could be that, yeah, they ran the story this way, and it wasn't supposed to be a joke, but people realized it was a joke because they thought they were going to get this past people out in the open, like they always try to, and people wasn't going to buy it. So they said, oh, this was a joke. We made a practical joke. Somebody made a practical joke, you know, and somebody got sued for it. So that's another explanation. So always you want to check into these things. When you hear Russianvids, Agent S, any of these people, pastors, conspiracy theorists, any type of people like this, okay? Anyone on the YouTube that's trying to teach you something, show you something. Don't take their word for it. Study yourself. That's what the scripture even says, recommends for us to do. Study to find thyself approved. If you approve of it, study it, check it out, see if you are approving of it, okay? That it passes your test, okay? So, make sure you do your homework. Like I said, whether it's a teacher, preacher, pastor, priest, psychiatrist, psychologist, a friend, a politician, any of these kind of people in these positions that are supposed to be leading, and guiding, you have to question and then do your own homework. Don't take the preacher's word for it. Don't take Russianvids' word for anything. Don't take Agent S' word for anything. Don't take Love Clark's word for anything. Don't take any of these people's word for anything. Because if you don't do your own homework, and you just condemn the people that do this with the pastors, but you listen to the conspiracy theorists without doing the investigation, you're going to end up like me, reporting on something that you didn't really have no idea what you're talking about fully. Okay? Being, looking stupid. Okay? So, have at it if you want to have a laugh again. But, and like I said, Russianvids, if you've known this, then that wasn't right to pass it off as a part of the conspiracy theory. But if you didn't know, then you can just be stupid, or there is the third option that you could be saying that they're just pretending to pass this off as a joke after nobody was going to buy it. Okay? It's that Love Clark. Love you guys. And like I said, don't take my word for it. Check me out. Check it out. Investigate for yourself. And don't just go do a Google search or, Wikipedia, because that stuff is so weak. Go a little deeper. Take the time to try different things that maybe goes against what your normal point of view might be. Like what you normally have been programmed or taught yourself to believe, or taught by your family to believe. And those ones where you automatically want to reject that information for what you're actually trying to look for. Because a lot of times when we're looking for conspiracy theory information, we look selectively, like, okay, if it fits into what I want, then I'm going to pick that over this. Whether you don't take the good with the bad and examine it all. You just go, I'm going to pick and choose. And so what you're doing is limiting yourself to access to what could be new information and newer light by just picking, like, okay, let's say I'm a flat earth person. And so I'm just going to pick flat earth topics over globe earth. When it's pro globe earth, I'm not going to click on that, because that's what answer I'm not looking for that answer. And I already know I'm searching for an answer that's already pre-programmed. I'm trying to, basically circular reasoning at that point, Argue with yourself on it. Anyway, it's that Love Clark. Love you guys, and keep this stuff in mind, because, like I said in another video too, a lot of people, we're all been manipulated to a certain degree, by society and everything. And a lot of people are MK Ultra controlled, and that's true. And people might wake up, people might wake up one day. But so this is not an attack at Russianvids or any of these other guys, but it is just more like a warning and a lesson that people can learn from me, from my own mistakes, okay, by reporting and commenting on something that I hadn't checked into fully on my own yet. And that is a mistake that I've had more than once come up. But I'm going to start learning from this shit, because if you really want to have a good person that you can confide in. You always have to check them first and back check for a while before you can start to feel like you trust them. And then you still check them. You still check, because it's just like I said, pastors, teachers, preachers, they can be wrong sometimes. Sometimes you can be right. And if you don't speak up in your own defense and you just let them go on down, sometimes they might not know. So you might be the only guiding light, and you let the opportunity pass up because you're too passive to speak up and say something for yourself, defend yourself, what you really know to be true, and not all these falsehoods. Like if you sat in your church and said, "Hey, everybody, we're supposed to be keeping these 7 feasts. These 7 parties with Yahweh. We're supposed to be calling the real God on God's name." Going to church on Saturday, not even going to church, but just keeping a Sabbath on Saturday, okay? All these kind of things, but we don't do this. People need to, one of the number one enemy of man is fear. Fear is the number one enemy of man, so if you can get past that first, that's the first step to success. Don't be afraid, okay? So don't be afraid to investigate, and don't be afraid to accept some realities that you might not have, or don't be afraid to at least not accept but consider possibilities of other people being right and you being wrong, or you being right and other people being wrong, and you're just not sharing it because you're afraid that you're going to seem like out of place, or people are going to think you're a nut, or people are going to disagree with you, or society doesn't agree with you. Yahweh did not, and Yehoshua did not, Yehoshua in the living flesh, the Torah in the flesh did not really care what people thought about him. He came, brought a message, and was delivered a sacrifice, and that was it. But his message was always about, basically to know what you're talking about. No, he's always referring back to the scriptures, to the Old Testament, to the Torah. So, he's telling people to check for yourself, basically. Or why don't you know already? How come you don't know? So, there's a lot of factors involved in this conspiracy theory stuff. But we all have to check each other's homework and tell each other or check each other on this stuff. If we don't, then we're going to continue to allow people to lead us down the wrong way, or them knowingly or unknowingly do it, okay? Without being told, hey, there's a booger on the end of your nose, or something like that, right? Telling somebody you don't really want to, you're not comfortable telling them something that is going to actually, that person would want you to tell them, but you don't want to tell them. Humans are weird, but fear is the number one threat to humanity is fear right now. Okay, that Love Clark, love you guys, and fear not.